and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. The June 10th, 2024 meeting of the Jackson Township Council will now come to order. Councilman Borelli?
Here.
Councilman Bernstein?
Here.
Councilman Chisholm is absent this evening. Council Vice President Sargent?
Here.
And Council President Kuhn.
Here.
As clerk of this meeting, I hereby publicly announce that in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been advertised in the manner prescribed by law. There are no proclamations or announcements. This evening, we will continue with opening comments from Township Council. Council President Kuhn.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, so I received a couple requests for consideration for administration to extend on our township website to allow residents to not only see what's currently on the planning board agenda, but what past applications are as well, and the related documents. I sent this request to our business administrator, and he gladly got in touch with Christian, and we updated the website. So now if you go onto the website, which Christian is showing you, if you wanted to see what's currently on the planning board agenda, as well as any past meetings, you can go ahead and easily get those documents. So I believe in the, it used to be just current, the current agenda was on there. So we did update that. And we sent it to the chairwoman of the planning board, and she was very happy of the update. So it makes it more transparent. Secondly, I would like to go into Wood Lane Park project. That hopefully that is going to be a resolution on today's agenda, but I wanted to kind of just show you guys what the project is proposed. I know that the business administrator, Mr. Wall, worked very hard along with recreation and getting this out. And I believe he actually was going through some negotiations and changing the layout and everything like that. So we actually have the gentleman from, what is it? Ben Schaefer, Recreation. He is here to answer any questions. That's probably just going to be from council. But I actually do have a couple questions if we could go into that. If any other council members want to go first and ask any questions.
And if I may, Council
Yes.
President, if you'd like Mr. Powell to give a quick summary, quick bullet point of exactly what is laid out here, that may help inform your consideration this evening.
Yes, if you could, please, if you want to come up
Thank
to
you,
the podium.
Paul.
Yes,
Right there. Thank you very much.
that's all right. And what's funny is I picked him right out of the crowd. I said, "You must be here from the parks." He was like, "Yeah, I am." I was like, "I can pick people out."
Do you want a pointer?
Oh,
You want a pointer? Awesome, thank you.
well, my name's Greg Powell. I'm with Ben Schaefer Recreation. We do parks, recreation, supply, install, sales, stuff like that. I've done a couple other playgrounds for the town over the years. We did, Scott and I, we did Flair Ridge, we did Camp Joy, and we did Hartfeld right before the pandemic a few years back. And I've been helping out the schools for the last number of years. But so this one here, when I was talking to Terrence and talking to Sean and AJ in Recreation, there were a couple different areas throughout towns that we talked about upgrading. This particular one, we were thinking about putting it over at Wood Lane. Wood Lane has a small structure right now, and I think the talk was that there's going to be a lot more use over there. We wanted to do something a little bit bigger, a little bit grander. So in the design we have here, and I modified some things after talking to Sean the other day, but I've got an ages 2 to 5 unit right here. I've got a shade canopy on top. It's a big thing these days, especially with the younger kids. We would like to cover the playgrounds as much as we can. And it seems to be a lot of, it seems to be a requirement these days also.
Is that shade canopy, is that a hard plastic or is that like a
It's
canvas?
a fabric shade canopy.
Okay.
Yep. So this is something that's recommended that it comes down in the wintertime, take it down October, November, put it back up in the spring. You just don't want any snow loads hanging out in that like over a weekend or something. Like
So that has to be removed in the winter?
It's
Okay.
suggested to be removed.
Okay.
This is an ages 5 to 12 structure here, and it's kind of hard to see from this angle point here, but this is a pretty large unit that goes up to, I think, heights of 16-foot decks. This is one of our newest lines this year from Burke. It's called our Aspire line. So essentially, we've got these little towers right here that are linked together by these rope climbers. It's something new to us. It's completely unique. You haven't seen a lot of stuff like this like throughout the state of New Jersey, so that you would be the first to have Burke's new line of Aspire. We did 3 bays of swings over here. I've got 2 belt seats, which is your traditional swing seat that you see. 2 tot seats right here, for the babies. I've got an ADA seat right here, and this is a connection seat. This is essentially a mommy and me seat where mother, father could sit there, child goes in their lap. There's a little plastic part that comes down, and you guys can swing. A couple freestanding pieces. This is called an orb rocker here. We can fit 4 kids in these seats here, and you can also put 2 or 3 kids on the disc here, kind of like a surfing, kind of snowboarding type deal as you rock back and forth. It's pretty cool because it includes a lot of people at the same time. Down here, when I hit on like some sensory pieces, we've got a whole musical ensemble here. Outdoor musical, we've got some drums, some chimes, some other features here. And I worked in some benches. We've got a playground signage here with all your legal. And this black border here, these are 6-foot border sections that are 12 inches high. This is what's going to contain the playground surfacing. You need surfacing for the playground because each of these components has a critical fall height. So if a child does fall from here, from there, whatever, the absorption impact in the surface is going to help prevent and reduce head injuries. And the last thing we added was a little seating area here. We've got 4 tables, and 3 of them are just traditional 6-foot tables. One of them is an 8-foot table with an ADA extension there. Generally, when we try to do site amenities, we try to include 1/4 of the site amenities to check off your ADA boxes.
Will those tables be concreted in, or are they movable?
These are portable. Yeah, so these will sit there on site. If them walking away is a concern, we can look into anchoring them.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're going to find them in the fields. So let's just move forward and look into anchoring. I live in that neighborhood.
Understand.
I will take one.
And then this,
I'm kidding.
I mean, we sell them if you want one.
No. I'm saying like they'll put them in the middle of the field. It's a very, very, you saw the
I know,
project. Yeah.
They end up in the
Yeah.
behind my house,
Yeah.
by the
100%. They'll be by the water.
And then this last guy here, this is an ADA access ramp. So this would tie into the borders. And then Sean and I talked about doing like a concrete path from the parking lot leading into the playground so we can check off that ADA box as well. As far as durability, lifetime warranties, we do 100-year warranties on all the metal parts. Any of the moving parts, like the swing hangers up in here, that we do 5-year warranties on those. Those should really be switched out every 3 to 5 years, new bushings and whatnot. The important thing about most warranties, whenever you talk about like our playground equipment or anyone else's, these plastic pieces are the biggest culprits because the sun just beats down on these guys. So we have a UV 21 baked into these plastics, which is 21 years of sun protection. So if you've ever seen a pink slide, it used to be red back in the day.
That's what I was going to ask.
So the UV protections have really gone up in the last 7 years. We've seen increases from UV 14 to UV 21 just in the last 7 years. So what we do is we warranty all the plastic parts for 15 years. And then say in year 14, right here, this little post underneath it like comes and kicks up like through the slide, you get a crack. We'll swap it out for you. No questions asked. We don't prorate or like we don't charge anything. We don't prorate the slide or anything. We just ship out a new one. We do lots of playgrounds up and down the coast. Just Sea Isle City, we did a playground there 20 years ago. And in year 14, all the slide exits kind of were like a little questionable. And Brooke just swapped them all out and just got them repositioned there.
I just have a question. So the border around that's actual border that's going to be around the playground, correct?
Correct.
And is that in sections? Is that removable? Does that have to come in the winter as well? So what I'm looking at is you're saying that the canopies and the borders are going to have to come in and stored.
Not the borders.
Not the board. So the borders,
canopies.
like we're handicapped for a handicap. Is there an opening that's going to be there?
Yep. This little ramp right here.
Oh, okay.
We're
Sorry.
going to position this. It's going to be tied into
Perfect.
the border. So there's not going to be a border here per se. I didn't tie it in yet because I figured that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
When we build it, we kind of decide at the time where we want to put it. But the borders are 6-foot sections. They're the same plastics as the rotomold slides right here. Same warranties, 15 years. Sometimes Public Works might jam a machine in there while they're like mowing the lawn. Don't tell me, just tell me the border's cracked. We'll swap it out for you.
You're being recorded, so I'm going to hold you to that.
So these are held in by two drive pins each. So these,
Okay.
they're permanent. They're in the ground there. They're 6-foot sections and they're 12 inches deep.
Okay.
the 12 inches is going to contain the playground mulch that goes in there. So we're going to do 12 inches of mulch, and that's going to be.
And what about colors? That's my last question. So can you do 2 colors? Is it 1 color? Is it
For the borders or for everything here?
for like everything we're seeing there? How many
We
colors?
can make this as pretty or as ugly as you want.
We can.
We've got a whole
Terrence,
color
can I have
rainbow.
involvement in the color picking?
This was my flavor of the week when I put this together. This is Sea Breeze.
Yeah, listen, I was like, I just thought the more colors, if it could
Oh, yeah.
be, definitely not green. But
And what we can do is you can tell me like what colors you're looking at, and then I can just like send you over like renderings, and you can say, hey, Greg, change this over to green, or
this
change
could be
to.
fun.
We can have some fun with it and make it pretty cool.
Cool. That was all, council.
You
So-
can send a few renderings over so we could get a sense of what the color scheme is, because once it's done, and then we'll disseminate that, and please share your thoughts of colors, letters.
Send you my colors.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'll resend you the color palette. You can pass it along, and then we'll
Okay,
get some
great.
input, and then I can just do some rendering based off
Yeah.
of that input.
And if there's any particular colors that should be avoided, maybe that's easier.
I think I heard green is like one. Is that true? Is there? Yeah. Can you let us know that? Like, what colors would you say? Listen, I know that we have X amount of years, but what? I mean, I don't know if that's bad for your business or what, but if you could just say maybe per se, I would kind of steer clear of X, Y, and Z.
The only thing that I really try to steer clear of is if I'm doing a canopy like this, I steer clear of red. Red comes with 7-year warranties on there, where all of the other canopies are like 10 plus years.
But you don't want black.
You don't want black.
Yeah.
Well, you can do like a nice blue or something
Okay.
like that. But we've got oranges, we've got yellows, we've got a bunch of things.
I was going for blue and orange myself because I just thought they were bright. Thank you so much. Oh, you have some.
Samples.
So these last couple of pages here, just show you all the colors.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, that
we
could be
have
cool.
Different preset themes, and then you go to this last page here. These are all the colors we offer.
I mean, I could
Sean
be
has
working
that
on this
book, right?
one. Yeah. Thing.
Quick question on supply chain,
Yeah.
install, ETAs, things of that nature, and what the arc of time is as far as project management.
Yeah, so equipment lead times these days are really good. We're like 5 to 7 weeks. Let's just call it 6 to 8 weeks, because as we get into the summer, it gets a little bit longer. The issue that not only I've been having, but every playground manufacturer is the laborers who install this thing. These things, like, there's been so much grant money coming down, through the schools, townships, and stuff like that. So whereas 5 years ago we were doing X amount of business, now doing like 4 times that. It's easy for me to kind of just like push around some paper and process some more orders. But the guys who install at those companies, they just can't go out and get more laborers. So if we're doing this project and you said, hey, Greg, we're to go, and you issue POs tomorrow, I get this ordered up, we're probably looking at a fall build. The good thing about this job is the surfacing would be a loose fill surface, so we can build that any time of year. If we were doing something like poured rubber, which is like the flat surfaces you'll see in some playgrounds, like if you go to the schools here, you've got the poured rubber there. We can only pour that certain times of the year, weather dependent. But this is a project we could knock out in the fall for you.
And just to give the council a point of reference, poured rubber versus the traditional surfaces, cost differentials.
Yeah, so this area here, I don't know the area off the top of my head. I want to say it's about like 5,500 square feet, 6,500 square feet, somewhere in that ballpark. The wood fiber surfacing for that is going to cost us, let's just say, 10 grand for the material, and it's going to cost us another 10 to install it. Whereas if we were going to do poured rubber over a 5,500 square foot area, we're north of 150K. So there's a large difference. And a lot of that is the process that goes involved to doing that. We have to excavate out soil. We've got to put down 4 to 6 inches of stone subbase. And then we've got to do like 3 bonded rubber layers on top of that.
Wow.
Just it's a little pricey.
Wow.
And in this case, the contract is for $9,878 for the wood fiber, as opposed to the board
Yeah.
fiber.
Correct. And that's the material cost right there, the wood fiber.
Good. I was like, whoa.
So one more question, with the canopy, do you offer a hard surface one that's permanent?
Yeah, we could do, well, as far as like these guys here, yes and no. We can do, like, we build pavilions, like big metal pavilions and stuff. Obviously, we're in a different price range than just like a fabric shaped canopy that has 4 posts and then like a steel like undercarriage. If we're doing like a big pavilion or a full metal thing that's permanent of that size, I mean, we're probably 10x of what we are right now.
Okay.
So the cost will go up considerably.
So when this comes in the fall, obviously the canopies, because I can see those canopies fading and probably getting a little bit of wear and tear on them. We probably would not put them up in this fall and we would hold them until next year. Do you guys come out or is that something that your
It's a
workers,
service that some of our installers offer.
is that going to cost us additional money every year for you guys to come and take it down and put it back up?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. I'm good.
For the two different playgrounds, you mentioned age groups for each one. I guess there'll be signage put in for,
Yeah, so I've got playground signs here. Here's one, here's the other. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is- yeah, this will say like
All right.
ages, recommended ages 2 to 5, have all your legal on there. And then this one will have your 5 to 12, age 5.
what would you recommend, like bright colors, so kids also with disabilities could use the equipment there? What would you recommend?
I mean, I'm kind of hard, I'm not part of my house, but
I mean,
Okay.
I like the
But-
one we did at Camp Joy. I really like the way that came out. Just brighter colors.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I know down the road in Hartsville, I think we did more of
Yeah.
like a red and
Red.
black and a gray.
Yeah. It's a nice layout. I'm glad you included the ADA accommodation and the
think you
sensory
have to.
part of it.
Quick comment on the earth tones.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, earth tones are chosen because they blend in
with the
with
earth.
the surrounding
Mhm.
forested areas and things of that nature. So you still have all the same equipment, but it's just a low key, visually low key for a reason. So
Okay.
just putting that out there.
And sometimes the colors, just depending on the area where it's at. I mean, if you're surrounded by homeowners, sometimes people don't want that in their backyard, they want a little more subdued kind of natural. So you just have to take that into consideration. Like, where are you putting this?
Yeah.
Especially, some of the musical pieces. If there's a bunch of houses like right on the playground, like we're not going to do anything that's going to create that kind of like volume. But where Wood Lane is, where it's kind of like, it's off on its own a little bit. The noise coming from these musical instruments at the Wood Lane location isn't going to affect those houses.
Yeah, no. It's far enough away. Like if you put it a little bit in the back, right, it's not going to go on Forest, right?
Say again?
It's not going to go on Forest, the musical
So
little
we
things.
moved the playground into the back. It used to be in the front, and we moved it all into the back to avoid that traffic.
Oh,
avoid
okay,
all the-
okay.
that bicycle
Love it.
stuff.
Excited. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presentation. If anybody has anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good. All right, so next I just wanted to go, so last week I met with Mr. Wall and our township engineer, and we had a long discussion regarding traffic concerns that are happening and that we have regarding projects and stuff that are coming up. So he did send me out, he recapped our meeting, and I just wanted to read a couple of the notes from the meeting. There's been traffic safety reports that are being done, and we get sent them and we kind of review them. It goes to the police department, and then it goes to administration, it goes to the engineer, and then it just kind of asks, like, where do we end up with that? And I learned a lot at that meeting. There's annual meetings that the administrator has with the department heads. But just to get into, so we had a traffic safety at Melissa Lee Drive. There were some concerns from residents. So there's 37 homes located on this street. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour. The maximum speed recorded was 76 miles per hour. It's a dead-end road. It's a cul-de-sac. The average was 30.8. There was 3,387 total car volume. That's approximately 480 per day. Again, this is mainly from residents. It's not a drive-through. It's a cul-de-sac. The keys to note is that 96.9% of all the vehicles are passenger vehicles. Only 3% of vehicles could have been buses or delivery trucks, etc. The vast majority of the traffic is from the neighborhood itself, including visitors. Then we did another one on Linda Drive. Classic cut-through street off of South Hope Chapel Road and White Road. All roads have curbs and sidewalk, as well as, let me just add to Melissa Lee, has curbs and sidewalks on both sides of the neighborhood. Linda Drive, all roads are curbed and have sidewalks on one side on Linda Drive. Approximately 50 homes total in the neighborhood. Speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Average speed was 30 miles, 30.6 miles. The maximum was 59 miles an hour. Going through this street, 6,530 cars in a week. That's approximately 930 cars per day. So the total is significantly higher than 505 per day that were predicted. Large vehicles traffic, again, is only 3.3%. So it seems that all traffic is even worse than last year when construction was going on in the area and there were detours going down the street. There is a concern that planned development in the areas will increase the traffic in the future, which would be similar to what was experienced last year. The goal at this time is to plan to work together for a long-term solution. T&M will be contacting the planning board and the zoning board engineers to identify approved or pending applications in this area. So therefore, our traffic safety bureau can work with them and know when they make plans and when they're looking at these plans to make suggestions that they can make the proper suggestions. Also, our business administrator we went over the problem, which I'm going to get into. I'm going to go into a little bit more before I make any more comments. So the police department is completing traffic studies in Robbins Estates over the next 3 to 4 weeks. That data will also require review and planning, both short and long-term development for our future, for our town. The master plan subcommittee should be discussing increased traffic from the development and updating the certain elements of the master plan for future development that in the approvals that we've had on the books for the last 20 years. So a lot of the development has already been approved and you're just seeing it being constructed now. We also discussed the pending capital ordinance and the 2024 road improvement program. We will include the striping and the signature at county intersections as the series of alternate bids by DPW and to getting prices start that process. So I believe DPW will be doing in sections, but again, the business administrator will be going over that so that we can start implementing the ordinance that we have right here, chapter 10363. This is parking restrictions on township roads and county intersections. I know that there was a comment on Facebook a couple hours ago pertaining to this ordinance. If you have a question on it, you can ask me and I'll educate you on it because your comment was inaccurate and inappropriate. We are trying to stop the cluster at the county of the municipal roads and the county roads so that these kids can get on the bus safely. The only ones that are allowed to stand or park on these roads where a permit is required is a resident that lives there because they don't want everybody else parking in front of their street and then can't even get into their own home. And then when the kids are trying to get the bus, let the buses have an easy access to go to the bus stops so you don't have 20 cars from the stop sign all the way down and then all the way down from the right and the left of the county roads. That is the reason why the ordinance was created. Me and the Traffic Safety Bureau walked the streets and did exactly what that ordinance was about. Took us about 4 months to create it, went to all the bus stops, realized, made the changes, implemented it, and it's made a difference. So that is the accurate, explanation to that. And again, if you have a question, you're more than happy to email me. I'd be more than happy to answer you. Next thing, T&M will also be reviewing an engineer and if recommended for an outside consultant if it's needed. So when we were at the meeting, Mr. Wall had graciously said, you know what, I'm hearing you guys, and maybe we can get our own engineer to actually look into the development and be involved in this and hands-on for towns that have experienced the growth that we are experiencing now so that we could be proactive instead of reactive. And I appreciate that meeting, Mr. Wall. And the last thing, sorry, but I really want to get this out there because I believe it's important. The county, we had a problem in South Boston and Bennett's Mills. I received an email and we also had some conversation. So I forwarded that to the county engineer and they are currently conducting an intersection investigation between Bennett's Mills and South Boston Road in Jackson Township. Please be advised that a member of our traffic division will be investigating this situation. So that is also being addressed. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. Council Vice President Sargent.
I'm waiving comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Borelli.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. I'm glad to read about Ocean County's plans to make upgrades and improvements to county parks, including in Jackson at Patriot Park Sports Complex on Bowman Road, so in order to make them usable for all children, including kids with disabilities. Also, I'm glad to be a part of, with the governing body, supporting future improvements at our township's Wood Lane Park. So with the summer upon us, I encourage our fellow residents of all ages to use and enjoy our town's many parks and recreational areas. They represent a positive reflection on our town and create a sense of pride among residents and visitors alike. Also, I want to recognize and acknowledge Shavuot for those who observe and celebrate the Jewish holiday in the next 3 days. Enjoy. And happy upcoming Father's Day to the dads up here on the dais, here in the audience, and out there in our town. Enjoy. And also, just a quick mention, I mentioned Administrator Wall about a faded stop sign that needed to be replaced, which it was today. Kudos to Public Works for the quick turnaround and for the new stop sign that two communities use in that particular area. Local governments, certainly closest to the people, the most grassroots, where you see a lot get done and quickly, and this is just one shining example of that. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Councilman Bernstein?
Good evening. Thank you, everyone who made it out tonight. I just want to take a moment to thank our Recreation Department for kicking off the Jackson Summer Concert Series this past Wednesday night. I had the opportunity to stop in for a few minutes, and it was great to see residents out and about in our parks. Additionally, as was mentioned earlier, the Township Economic Advisory Committee met last week. It was great to solicit and hear from residents from all over town about where future economic growth makes sense to be. Some of those ideas are going to be forwarded to the Master Plan Committee for them to look into. And I very much recommend that our residents go onto the town webpage and submit any comments and ideas for the master plan, because at the end of the day, we only know the best way of us being informed on the committee and the planning board being informed is by residents communicating with the board. So thank you again for coming out and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes of May 28, 2024.
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bernstein?
Yes.
Council Vice President Sargent?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. Move on to consideration of ordinance, public hearing, and final consideration. This is the second reading of ordinance 22-24 entitled An Ordinance of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, repealing ordinance 50-79, which has established Andover Road as a one-way street. This ordinance was introduced on May 28, 2024. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone. State your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Good evening,
Good
Council.
evening.
Ryan Archer, ARCHER, 486 Frank Applegate Road.
Sir, this is just for Andover. This is just for
I
the current.
apologize.
That's okay.
Thank you.
So when they open it to public comment, you come on up.
Why am I saying-
All right. Thank you.
Seeing no one come forward, make a motion to close public comment on this ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This third reading of ordinance 22-24 entitled An Ordinance of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, repealing ordinance 50-79, which had established Andover Road as a one-way street. I need a motion to adopt on third and final reading and advertise according to law.
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bernstein?
Yes.
Council Vice President Sargent?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. This is second reading of ordinance 23-24 entitled An Ordinance of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 3-122 of the Township Code of the Township of Jackson with respect to extra duty assignments within the Department of Public Safety. This ordinance was introduced on May 28, 2024. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Seeing no one come forward, make a motion to close public session on this ordinance?
Motion.
Second? All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
third reading of ordinance 23-24 entitled an ordinance of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 3-122 of the Township Code of the Township of Jackson with respect to extra duty assignments within the Department of Public Safety. I need a motion to adopt on third and final reading and advertise according to law.
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bernstein?
Yes.
Council Vice President Sargent?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. There are no ordinances on first reading this evening. We move on to bills and claims. I need a motion to approve or hold.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Abstain on vendor numbers RUT02, STA01, STA28, and STA76, yes to the rest on there.
Thank you. Councilman Bernstein?
Yes.
Council Vice President Sargent?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Abstain from RCS 02. Yes to the rest.
Thank you. We move on to consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the list of resolutions under consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bernstein?
Yes.
Council Vice President Sargent?
Voting no to R227-24, yes to everything else.
Thank you. Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. We move on to public comments on any topic. I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
Sir.
Motion to open?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone. State your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Good evening, council. Ryan Archer, ARCHER, 486 Frank Applegate Road. As you know, I was here 2 weeks ago with a 5-minute speech, opening words regarding my inquiry into certain things and aspects of the town and how things were handled. Tonight, I continue that. I looked up certain information. One of them is the oath that officials take. I apologize for the reverb here. I pulled this off of NewJerseyStateLibrary.org, and you can tell me if I'm wrong regarding the wording of an oath for a political official. It states here, I, blank, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of blank to the best of my ability, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. Does that seem to be the correct wording for the sworn oath or similar to that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I want to refer you to something. I've been doing a lot of research. By the way, disclaimer, I don't claim to be a lawyer, an official, knowledgeable person on state law, municipal law, or any of those facts. I come before you based on the information I obtained, either through OPA requests or through articles that I've read or through complaint orders, consent orders, anything that's available to the public. I'm not here to create controversy. I am not here to throw stones at you because I believe stones on both sides have already been thrown from the people before me. What I'm concerned with are certain aspects of things. One of the things I'm concerned with is some of the verbiage that was used in December 12, 2023 Town Council meeting, specifically by Special Counsel Brett Pullman. At 1 hour and 17 minutes, he gave a great opening speech, very professional, very well laid out. And he stated, I will not say it on the record or repeat allegations or quotes as I think they are appropriate in this case. Okay? Pretty stand-up statement. Here's my problem. At hour 2:33 minutes, he chose to open up the complaint order and read for verbatim the most hateful speech that exists in that document. So he contradicted himself. You can look for it yourself. I'm not making this up. That's where my concern is as far as the honesty of the township and how they handled this case. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, council. Donnie Edelman, 206 Willow Point. Got a couple of things tonight, and hopefully we just go through it real quick. YouTube, I'm glad to see that's back off of kids' YouTube. I thought I was going to have to make a little point tonight. Glad that doesn't have to happen. A couple of things in regards to the dog park. Still would like to know about getting secondary gates and having the flooding problem taken care of. Also, just so you know, that every time I talk about it, they come through and they put this fill in to help fill in the holes and add some more substance, which is great, but they're basically using leftover road patch. And we sent it out for analysis because we don't feel it's safe to use essentially recycled road pieces to fill in the dog park. So maybe something could be done to avoid that just by getting real fill dirt instead of ground up road pieces. I'd like to know if there's been any updates with the county engineer's office in regards to my sidewalk issue. I don't know if you've had a chance to speak with them about that, but I sure have. And me and Mr. Ernst kind of got into it a couple weeks ago because, again, on top of the missing sidewalks, there's the issue that I'm a little sore about, and I would think that other government officials would be sore about, the missing almost $500,000 that were paid that sidewalks are there. Somebody paid a lot of money, and it says the sidewalks are there if you look at all the paperwork, but it's very obvious that they're not. As far as I heard, I was listening to the session on the way over. Would it be possible for either the town to start its own Facebook page, an actual official Facebook page to eliminate some of this, or possibly purchase or alleviate in some other way Mr. Stilton's control over what has become the de facto Facebook page to eliminate a lot of this vitriol that we have? Because I saw the comment that you referred to before about the road reports, and a lot of misinformation gets out there, and there's no real moderation. I believe that a certain population of the community is getting their chance to be heard and others not. Mr. Wall, we spoke in regards to a employee issue that I was having with the animal control department. I said that I was going to type something up. Look, I've suffered from multiple concussions. It's hard for me to use a computer. I was wondering if it's possible, set an appointment, come in, talk about it. And as far as what it is that I'd like you to see as far as like the evidence, so to speak, I have a couple of different YouTube channels. One's got 500,000 subscribers, has nothing to do with personal stuff. The other is a personal page. I put it on there so this way you could hear it and make it so, because there is a volume issue, so to speak. So I made it, and I'll give you an update as far as how you could view that. And the last thing, believe it or not, I have a couple friends that are Jackson police officers. It's come to my attention that about 3-4 months ago, there was a major incident in headquarters where a couple officers got into it and one of them drew their gun on another officer. How come we haven't heard about that? I remember hearing 2 months ago when we were talking about the police coordinator position that the police chief Coons was talking about internal.
I'm gonna
disciplinary.
stop you right there. Our public safety director is literally sitting behind you, and he could put that to rest for you.
Okay.
So it's not Facebook, it's Fakebook, because it's nothing but people writing fake stuff on there. So I don't know, the township could create their own. I wouldn't in any way recommend it. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't think it would be a good thing, but yeah, I don't, it's just anybody out there that can write whatever they want.
Okay.
But that's just going to be your answer.
All right.
to
Well, I
that.
mean, that takes care of that. But,
Okay.
you know, like I said, the incident I'm referring to at the police department was never posted on Facebook. All right.
Well, I'm sure
And
our public safety director, again, that is sitting right behind you and is going to be at all these meetings.
I will address that with him, I guess, after
Yeah.
the meeting's over. All right. With that, let's see. I asked Mr. Wall, YouTube. The other thing I'm going to post on there is when Mayor Rayner was here 2 sessions ago, whatever it was, there was some question as far as whether or not I did things like go to his office, house, all his other office down in Ocean
All
County,
right,
down in
let's,
Tom's
is
River.
there a question? Because your
Well,
time's
no, I
up.
just want to make it aware I'm posting the video and audio of that on the same
That's-
YouTube forum, just in case anybody has a question
Okay.
about it.
So your time is up, sir. We have to be respectful of the time. Thank you so much. I
Awesome.
appreciate you coming out.
Have a nice night.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
You too. Director Candino, if you want to assist him in that question. I don't know anything of it. Does he have to? No, I mean, no? Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in
Roll call.
favor?
Aye.
Motion to close?
Motion, not,
Second.
no, you
All in
motion. your
favor?
hands up.
Aye.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, you responded. I saw an email.